I'm back. I've been up in Canada for a couple months working. A lot of crazy things happened. Somebody lit my car on fire. We had drones fall out of the sky. All sorts of 2020 COVID nonsense. I really am looking forward to the world getting back to some sort of sense of normalcy, and maybe 2021 will have that in order. Nonetheless, I've moved to a huge new warehouse space. I don't get to use the whole thing, but for now I'm kind of sprawled all over the place as I go through my parts and make sure that everything's in line. There was some minor damage in shipping, just a few scratches and dings here and there. A little bit of body work will fix just about everything. In the meantime, I have built workbenches, new wing rotisseries, wing racks, and a few parts to help get myself up and rolling here, because this is a completely empty space. I've had to go out and acquire a few new tools, which is a bit of a pain, but I'm really excited to get started on the project again and keep the progress rolling. Last week I did order my engine, and it should be here within the next week or two. Unfortunately, Kitfox is 4 to 6 months behind on fiberglass, so I won't get cowlings or boot cowl for maybe that long, maybe longer, maybe less. I have found a set online, and if anybody has a boot cowl that they want to sell, I'm in the market. So that could slow me down a little bit, because I do want to fit the boot cowl over the frame before I cover. It says that in the manual. But I think I can find a workaround for that. The first thing I'm working on here is the Laker leading edge, which is this fiberglass slide over that basically makes the wing more aerodynamic. From the factory, these come very rough. The edges are rough. The actual finish is very rough. There's lots of bumps from the mold. And I'm gonna have to go through and tape off the ends, cut the edges, fit it around this bracket, and then just sand everything smooth on the ends and on the inside. So a little bit of work here. I'm using a Dremel tool to cut the ends with a cutting blade on it. Works pretty well. It's kind of rough. I wish I had a tool that was more precise. It would give me a straighter edge, but I'm not equipped with such a tool. This has a step that's not really listed in the manual. They say that there are 2 long pieces that basically split from the number 5 rib back to the root and to the end. Well, the 2 long pieces they give you do not make it the full length from 5 to the end and from the root to the end. So what you end up having to do is cut one short so it lines up at number 5, line the next one up on number 5, the next one up on number 5, and then it doesn't make it to the end here, so you have to cut this on the number 9 rib and take another little stubby piece that they gave you and bridge it again. So it's a little more work than they list in the manual. And I fortunately got some help on the forum to figure that stuff out. But it's off and running. After that, I'll do pitot, a little bit of wiring, wing tips, and then I actually have to fit the flaperons on the brackets on this thing, and then these things will be ready to cover. Pretty excited, getting close to fabric, and I'm very well set up in this warehouse to get started on fabric. So looking forward to getting these done soon. These are my new Wing Rotisserie mounts. I tried to copy Kitfox's design. Didn't work out. I ended up cutting a slot in the Schedule 80 pipe on the bottom and welded 2 clamps to try and tighten this together. The Schedule 80 is too thick, so I basically sheared off a bunch of bolt heads and this handle, just trying to get it to hold in place. So I just said, hey, these are going to get thrown away at the end of this, so I'm not going to put too much effort into it. And I just welded a galvanized bolt on there and made it a little stop screw. Works flawlessly. Got some cool new workbenches built up today. Pretty solid. Put a piece of masonite on the top so that it's a nice smooth surface, and glued and nailed them in the top. These are my height, which is not everybody's height. I know some people like a lower workbench, but we built these up 42 inches so that I'm not bending over and trying to work on stuff. So pretty stoked about these. I'll have these set up next to each other so I can work on the flaperons full length. It's 2 sheets of plywood, so it's a full 16 feet of workspace when they're put next to each other, and plenty of storage down below. Maybe somebody knows what's going on here. My brand new Shock Monster shocks, which have never really been used, appear to be leaking some oil around this seal. This one seems fine. I don't know if they're just loose or whatever, but it's definitely pooling on the bottom, and you know, it's quite a bit of fluid. And I do clean this off regularly, and you can even see a little drip there on the floor from this thing. So, and again, these are brand new monster shocks that have only sat still and traveled in a trailer. Other than that, they haven't been subjected to anywhere near the force that they're supposed to be able to withstand. Not a whole lot accomplished so far. This thing did get shipped, so I've got everything unpacked and pseudo-inventoried again, and a path forward to getting this thing covered. That's my next goal, sort of big phase goal. I got all my little sort of odds and end projects put together, like wing racks, wing skewers, and workbenches, and I'll just be, over the next couple of days, organizing and slowly working on small projects as I get this space set up for use. Looking forward to getting her done. There's nothing stopping my build process at this point. I'm not going to work or anything until next summer. So throughout the winter, I should be good to go to hammer out the rest of this and maybe get it done in the next couple months. Maybe I'm too ambitious, I don't know. I am waiting on parts from Kitfox, which is a huge bummer. I should have expected that and ordered these things long in advance, but it didn't work out that way, and here I am waiting for parts. So maybe a learning lesson, have things available long before you need them. I did buy a onesie. I feel like a 2-year-old putting one of these things on, but I'm tired of ruining all of my clothing because every time I go anywhere near this plane, it covers me with some weird white stuff, stains, high sol, paint, varnish, glue, anything really that I use in the process of making this thing ends up getting on my clothes. So instead of buying new clothes all the time, I just bought one onesie that I'm just going to ruin. It's funny, one of my friends came down to visit and he sat in this thing and walked away with white stuff on his backside for the rest of the day. So it's not a playground by any means, and it's not done yet. It's still a mess. So that's what the goofy onesie is for, which I'm very happy and comfortable in. Pretty much all set, ready to go. Looking forward to hammering out the rest of this build over the next couple months. So stay tuned.